Yep.
Hello,
Yes.
everyone. I am Pamela and I live in Caracas, but I am a Trini to the bone. I'm going to tell you a story about something that happened to me many, many years ago when I was a little girl. I always loved to hear ghost stories, and I had a brother in law who loved to tell ghost stories, and he loved to scare us as well. Now, during vacation time, I have many, many cousins living in the south, in San Fernando and further south. And they would come to Port of Spain to spend vacations with us. And we had wonderful times. Of course, Dave would take advantage of that situation because he loved to tell ghost stories and he loved to dramatize them as well. Now, his stories were always about zombies because his main aim was to scare us. Very often, he would make us sit in a circle, hold hands, and close our eyes. So this day, he waited until it was dark. And we did mind, really, because we sat near to a window where the light can come in from outside because we knew that the first thing he would do was turn off the lights. So this day he said, "Today we're going to tell stories about zombies. Who would like to see one?" Ah, everyone shouted. Of course, the usual instructions. Sit in a circle, hold hands, and close your eyes. And we would take a little peek now and then to see what was going on. Now, he said, today is a different story because today all the zombies are gathering today here in Port of Spain. And Madame Sucunya is going to come by and she's passing very near with some doings. You know what a Sucunya is? Let me tell you. In those days, zombies were those scary characters who would come in the night and scare people. Madame Sukunya was a lady who would rub her skin with salt until all the skin dropped off. And then she would go in the night and bite people on their arm or on their leg and suck their blood like a vampire bite. Naja Bless was another character. She was a human foot and one cow foot, like a hoop. He used to stay in the dark. And when the children began playing hoop and say, "You ready? Hoo hoo," he would say, "Hoo hoo." And the children would follow that voice and he would steal them. And the doings are like little dwarfs, but with their feet turned backwards. Well, here comes the story now. And I will never forget this one because that evening, as we gathered around Dave, he gave us the instructions just as usual. Sit in a circle, hold hands, and close your eyes. Of course. And we would hold hands and close our eyes, but take a little peek every now and then to see what was going on. Ready? He said. Of course. Who's ready? Ah, everyone would shout it. Some of us were brave, but some of us weren't so brave. And he started, as usual. And when you heard that in the dark, boy, my little cousin Matthew, who was holding on to my hand, he gripped my hand so tight, and I said, "Don't be afraid, Matthew. I will protect you." And he said, today the story is going to be different. You know why? Because they are going to pass near here. And that could cause confusion and commerce, because today they are on the lookout for souls. My little sister Lynn began crying, Ma, 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 come, calling my mother. And then, ka-da-bloom, 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 ka-da-bloom. The water drum outside, we could hear it rolling in the yard. And Dolly, my cousin, said, Dave, they're coming. And he said, no, no, no. That is Lagahoo looking for a match to see Ladja Bless Cowfoot. And then poor Matthew started to shake like hell. And he said, listen, listen. Kaplunk, 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 kaplunk. He said, ah, listen, you can hear? That is Ladja Bless with her Cowfoot running. Who wants to see them? My little sister again cried, Mama. And he said, I gone, and ran outside. And what do you think? I thought my last moment had come, because suddenly I felt something cold and wet on my head. And I just started bawling for my mother. Ma, 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 come. And everyone was screaming, and I was jumping up and down in the dark. And then suddenly someone said, quiet, quiet, children. It was my mother, and I was holding her on for dear life. And she said, look at how I almost killed my own child. What do you think happened? She was looking on from outside, and she saw how Dave was trying to scare us. And so she took a wet towel and sent it through the window, aiming for his head. But it was at that moment that he went running off saying, I gone. And guess what? That towel fell on my head. Well, you can tell that it was the worst moment for anyone. Imagine you are in the dark, you're scared like hell, listening to ghost stories, and suddenly you think one of them was on your head. Well, let me tell you something. If you like ghost stories too, and you like to be scared, when you listen to them, let me give you a piece of advice. Do not sit near to a window. Thank you for listening, and I hope you like the story.
Oh.